2023 was a weird year for Auburn. The Tigers went a disappointing 6-7, but had 3 one-possession losses to some of the top teams in the SEC, losing to Georgia in the final minutes, Ole Miss by just 1 possession, and then Alabama on that 4th and 31 play. Probably should have defeated the 2 teams that played in the SEC championship game. So they were competitive there, but then they got blown out at home to New Mexico State, got blown out in their bowl game against Maryland. You never knew which Auburn team was going to show up on a week-to-week basis. But that should change in 2024, and they should be better this year if they can navigate a very difficult schedule. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. So glad to break down the Auburn Tigers, the year 2 of the Hugh Freeze era. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our exclusive expert picks, home to our exclusive newsletters where you can get exclusive content year-round. A lot of fun stuff that comes in that newsletters every single week, guys, so do not miss out on those. Go sign up for those today. Same for the expert picks, some of the best spread picks in the entire country for each of the last 6 years, and will be for 7 years by the end of the season. So go sign up for all those things today. Check out everything down in the description below so you can become a member of our GE Nation. So again, we talked about Auburn. You know, they had a pretty strong start last year, 3-0, won that road game at California, competitive against Georgia, competitive against Alabama, competitive against Ole Miss. And then in some other areas, they struggled. I mean, that New Mexico State loss was mind-boggling, I think, for everybody last season. But this year, though, they should be a little bit better. Still made a bowl game in year 1 under Hugh Freeze. That counts as a win, but obviously the Tigers want more. Offensively, they were just average. They were not the offensive juggernaut that a lot of people, not myself, but a lot of people thought Auburn was going to be because Hugh Freeze is an offensive-minded coach. Therefore, they're going to be good offensively. That's not how it works. And that's not how it's going to work again this year. They'll be improved, but last year averaged just 26.2 points per game. Had a horrendous passing attack. Only 162 passing yards per game is what they averaged. Averaged nearly 190 on the ground, but Auburn's got to improve their passing game. And the question is whether or not Peyton Thorne, their quarterback last year, is the guy to do that. Thorne, once again, returns under center for the Tigers, but only threw for over 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. It was mediocre quarterback play. So can he take a step forward? Many are saying yes because of the weapons that Auburn has provided him with. He has a lot of talent around him. Their leading pass catcher from last year, Rivaldo Fairweather, does return at tight end. They add in Keandre Lambert-Smith from Penn State. That's a huge pickup for this Auburn offense. Robert Lewis comes in at wide receiver from Georgia State, so they've got some talent there. And then, of course, they've got Jarquez Hunter as well, who rushed for over 900 yards last season. So they've got a very solid running game. We knew that last year will be the case again this year. The weapons are around Peyton Thorne for the passing game to maybe take off. Question is whether or not they can do it. Defensively, the Tigers should be very strong. 8 starters back after giving up just 22.6 points per game, only 357 yards per game. 3 of their top 4 tacklers do return, led by Eugene Asante at linebacker, led by Jalen McLeod at linebacker. Those 2 players combining for 10.5 of the 31 sacks that Auburn had last year. So both those guys were a force to be reckoned with in the linebacking core. You've got Keontae Scott anchoring the secondary back at cornerback. The defensive line added tons of transfers to kind of bulk themselves up to try to stop the run a little bit better. The Tigers gave up over 155 rushing yards per game last year. They've got to improve in that front 7, namely the defensive line, and Hugh Freeze did address that through the portal. So all in all, guys, Auburn, roster-wise, from a scheme standpoint, all of those things are pointing out they should be better. Can they navigate their schedule? Honestly, I think they can. I'm not saying they're going to be 9-10 win seasons, that they're going to be an SEC title contender, but they should definitely show some improvement in the overall record. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they went 6-6 in the regular season last year. I think they're going to get 4 wins right off the bat. I think Auburn starts 4-0 to kick off the 2024 campaign. And look how great that schedule is. They don't leave Auburn until October 5th. Their first, 5 games are all at home, 2 of them against SEC opponents. But I think they start 4-0. Alabama A&M will breeze past them. California, they won out west against the Golden Bears 14-10 last year. It was an ugly, ugly game. California probably should have won. The Golden Bears missed 3 field goals, committed tons of turnovers. Auburn managed to find a way to get out of there, though. So they won that game. They will win again now on the Plains, no doubt in my mind. They play New Mexico. Thank goodness it's not New Mexico State. They'll beat New Mexico, though, and they'll beat Arkansas, who never plays well at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Tigers beat the Razorbacks 48-10 last year, outgained them 517 yards to 255. Auburn has won 7 of the last 8 meetings against Arkansas, 4 of the last 5 in Auburn. Hogs just are not going to get it done this year. It's just not happening. So they're 4-0, and then they host Oklahoma. And I see a lot of people wanting to pick this game in favor of Auburn. They're in favor of the Tigers here. And I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I'm not saying Oklahoma's going to come into the SEC in their first year and go be a conference title contender, go win anything big, but they do have one of the best defenses, not just in the SEC, but in the country. That's number one. If Jackson Arnold can live up to the hype, and he looked solid at times in their bowl game last year, turnover machine, sure, but those will get corrected. If he lives up to the hype, the offense will be very dangerous as well. The running back core is great. The wide receiver core is great. Oklahoma's got the talent. I think Oklahoma owns the edge in every aspect of this game except for home field advantage, and I believe the Sooners will overcome that. So they win that game. Auburn drops to 4-1, and then things get tough after that. They're going to lose to Georgia on the road. They lost 27-20 last year. We mentioned that, a one-possession loss to the Bulldogs. Georgia not scoring the game-winning touchdown until there was a little under 3 minutes left in the game. So Auburn had their chance. They started off strong, let Georgia come back, but were playing really good ball and just fell just short. But the Tigers have lost 7 straight to the Bulldogs. They have not won in Athens since 2005. They are not going to end that streak this year. They will lose to the Bulldogs. They come out of their bye week. They will lose in the Tiger Bowl to Missouri. Another game where I see a lot of people picking the Tigers of Auburn, and I'm not quite sure why. Sure, the week of rest helps, but Missouri's a dang good football team. And they've got home field advantage on their homecoming with a great offense with a veteran quarterback. Brady Cook owns a significant quarterback edge over Peyton Thorne. Missouri's wide receiver core significantly better than that of Auburn's. Their defense, you could maybe give the edge to Auburn barely, but Missouri not far behind if you even want to go that route. Missouri's got all the factors here going in their direction. They're going to take care of business at home. Auburn drops that game, and then I do think they drop the game at Kentucky as well. It's a winnable game, no doubt about it. Toss-up game if you want to call it that. But on the road, don't like that. I love what Kentucky's got coming back this year, bringing in Brock Vandegrift from Georgia at quarterback, a very underrated wide receiver core that will test this Auburn secondary, and Kentucky's defense returns 10 starters, tons of experience in Lexington this season. I think they defend their home turf, and Auburn with their passing game, probably not up to par where it needs to be, can't get enough going. Kentucky's front seven dominates the line of scrimmage. They contain the run. Peyton Thorne, can you beat us through the air? No, you can't. Kentucky gets the win. Boom. Just like that. 4-0 start for Auburn turns into a 4-4 start for Auburn. And before anybody goes, that's ridiculous. We're not going to lose 4 games in a row. You did it last year. Auburn literally got off that hot start and then lost 4 games in a row. So it's not out of the question to see that happen for the Tigers, especially when you consider Oklahoma and Georgia both could be ranked in the top 15, top 10. Georgia top 10 for sure. Oklahoma maybe top 15. Missouri very well could be a top 10 team, potentially playing 3 straight top 15 opponents in 3 consecutive games, and also a travesty that their last home game is on September 28th. They don't have another home game until November 2nd, so the entire month of October, they don't even get to play in front of their home crowd. So all that being said, yeah, I do think they lose 4 in a row. But luckily, what happens for them? Sitting at 4-4, they get 2 cupcake teams. They're going to cruise past Vanderbilt in conference play, get their bye week. They'll cruise past ULM, so they've clinched bowl eligibility. They are 6-4, going bowling for the 2nd year in a row under Hugh Freeze. But can they clinch a guaranteed winning season? All they've got to do is be A&M or Alabama. Win one of those games, and you clinch a winning season. I think they do clinch a winning season with a win over A&M. They will beat Texas A&M. They lost to the Aggies 27-10 last year, but the home team in this series has won the last 3 games. A&M in year 1 under Mike Elko, they've got talent there in College Station. They've got a lot of talent and a team that really could surprise you this season, but will they have enough to come on the Plains and get the win? A&M, most of their bigger games coming at home, behind the 12th man. We know how difficult Jordan-Hare Stadium is to play. Senior day for the Tigers, they get the job done over the Aggies, and I do think they fall on the road to Alabama. They have not won in Tuscaloosa since the Cam Newton year in 2010, and this is an Alabama team that's going to still be solid. Despite the loss of Nick Saban, still solid with Kalen DeBoer as their head coach. Still have a fantastic quarterback in Jalen Milroe. Alabama's weakness is in their secondary. I imagine they'll fix that up by November 30th and by the season finale, but even if they haven't, I don't have faith in Auburn being able to exploit that. Yes, I know the Tigers ran all over them last year, put up 244 rushing yards on the Tide in last year's near upset loss. Alabama shores that up, fixes that, does not allow Auburn to do that again. Once again says Peyton Thorne, beat us through the air. They can't do it. He can't do it. Auburn loses, but still finishes the year at 7-5. For many, you're going to say it's a disappointment. I could probably maybe see 8-4. I think that Kentucky game or Oklahoma game is truly a toss-up. They will not win both of those games. Maybe they can win one of them to get to 8-4. I'm going to hinge on 7-5 right now. But regardless, it's a step in the right direction. The record improves overall. Go from 6-6 to 7-5, and maybe next year is when Auburn takes that big leap. We always say year 3, year 4 with new head coaches. That's when they hit their stride. That's when they take that big leap, that big step forward. That could very well be the case for Hugh Freeze. But regardless, that's back-to-back postseason appearances. That's a winning season in 2024, continuing to lay the foundation. And I do think next year will be the year that Auburn finally breaks through. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our exclusive expert picks and our weekly newsletters. Don't miss out on either of those things. Go check them all out to become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.